Week 2, Part 4, Learning Objectives. We start with the learning objective. This is similar to a client goal or expected outcome. It's short-term specific and accomplished in 1 or 2 sessions. It includes a subject, action verb, performance criteria, target time, and any special conditions. Consider the following: the subject being the client, the action verb being the state of what is being performed. What are the performance criteria? For example, is it knowing the signs and symptoms of infections? The target time is the date. When should they know this by? Hopefully by dismissal. Special conditions are when to contact a nurse on call. Refer to your syllabus to the website listed in the project for more information on how to write your objectives. The key is to remember what your action verb must be measuring. For instance, how do you measure understanding? You don't, but you can explain, interpret, define, recall, etc. to show understanding. There are 6 cognitive levels, starting with knowledge. This is role memorization, recognition or recall of facts. Comprehension, understanding what the facts mean. Application, correct use of the facts, rules, and ideas. Analysis, breaking down information into components or parts. Synthesis, combination of facts, ideas, or information to make a new whole. Evaluation, judging or forming an opinion about the information or situation. The last phase of the process is to evaluate how the teaching plan went. Were the learning outcomes or objectives met, and how effective was the teaching? The teaching plan is then modified as needed to ensure the outcomes are met. The evaluation must always consider what the client and family believes they need to know, and what the nurse considers is essential to the plan. As with anything, there are teaching barriers. Barriers differ between the acute and home settings. There is anxiety with the client or caregiver, knowing that they are going home. This impedes the retention of information given at discharge. Time is limited in the acute care setting. A challenge to discharge teaching is the adherence to the medication regimen, especially in the clients that are 65 or over. With comorbidities, routines of 2 or more medications are occurring. This causes a need for more education. Rehospitalizations result due to this inadherence. Teaching at home is a potential for the teaching to be interrupted more. Being in the client's home environment, there are more distractions and the nurse has less control over the client's behavior. There are also many providers that care needs to be coordinated with. Each provider may have similar or the same treatments, but taught in a different way. This may confuse the client. Due to the time constraints, the acute care settings, clients often encounter their first teaching in the home regarding their care. So what do you do if the client is very challenging? Earlier I said noncompliance might be considered as a lack of understanding. We easily label noncompliance when the clients don't follow the regimen. It's better to label them as a lack of adherence. Noncompliance suggests a one-sided expectation, while adherence is the connection to the regimen, therefore making the client be one who isn't connected to the regimen, meaning it's lacking something for them. When the treatment plan isn't followed, it may mean the client needs to be involved more in the planning process with ensured agreement on the plan. Investigate why the client isn't following the plan. Are they missing information? Do they have the skill to do it? Don't value or see the need for the treatment. Ask the client's thought on how they think the treatment is progressing. The barrier has to be identified before the plan can be tailored to the client's needs. Barriers may come from the client's factors, home environment, and the teaching plan itself. Building a trusting relationship with the client and family. As trust builds, the barriers are removed. With barriers being gone, a partnership forms and the client follows the plan. With the client in their own environment, their anxiety level decreases and they learn more. An option to help decrease the anxiety is to provide small, mini sessions of learning. This allows the client to not be overwhelmed with too much information and allows for the client to master smaller segments of the plan. Bring an interpreter with you when the client isn't fluent in English or you aren't fluent in their language. Follow up with the client after teaching to enhance the continuity of care. And I want to clarify the last statement. When you aren't fluent in their language in an acute setting requires you to get a secondary interpreter. It is always best to bring in a secondary interpreter and you not interpret the patient. Successful techniques in teaching. It's important to be familiar with a variety of teaching techniques. Using videos help increase the knowledge for the client, whether in individual teaching or in a group setting. It can also help reinforce the teaching. Demonstrating a skill and then have the client give a return demonstration in the skill. This allows the client to feel comfortable with the skill and to ask questions without the pressure of the real thing happening when they are on their own. Bring or use actual equipment the client will be using whenever possible. The realism with its use of the equipment or pictures of the equipment makes the teaching more effective. Websites as references or resources can help reinforce information or allow the teaching to occur in a different, possibly more helpful way. The challenge is ensuring the reliability and credibility of the websites, as there are many sites out there. Keep the client as a partner when teaching. This relationship keeps the clients invested in their learning.